Okay, on to question 4 from the Core 1 Chapter 1 homework, which is a question from the January 2006 paper. Now this is a very important type of question. They like asking this kind of question on Core 1, and when you first do them they are genuinely a bit tricky. There is an example that you can look at in your notes. It's example 5.6 on page 11 of Chapter 1. And a couple of the questions in exercise 5, which you may have done, are also echo it. But in this case, I'll point some of the key features of the question. Your starting point is a quadratic equation. M is a constant. Some of the coefficients in this equation we don't know, except in terms of M. And they tell us this equation has equal roots. As soon as they start telling you anything about the roots of the equation, that triggers a nerve inside yourself. You need to recognise that means you need to think about the discriminant, and you need to know the formula for the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. There are three interesting properties that could have, being positive or negative or zero. Has equal roots, you need to pick the right one. So you can say equal roots, so b squared minus 4ac, and then say what it has to be. In order to set up b squared minus 4ac, remember a, b and c in a quadratic equation or expression are the coefficients of x squared, so a is going to be 1, and here's b, it's going to be that bracket, and here's c. So you're going to say the discriminant is what it has to be. b squared minus 4ac, you take b squared, that bracket squared, minus 4ac, 4 times 1 times that bracket there. Put that into your equation, and here this show that this is where you want to end up. On a show that question, this is not your starting point, it's your end point. Your starting point was equal roots and the discriminant. Here were your values of a, b, c. After you set all of that up, at the very end of your working, we need this to appear. 3 relatively tricky marks, but look, everyone can get these 2 marks, even if you couldn't do part A. In part B, find the possible values of m, having got a quadratic equation for m. You can ignore the previous part of the question. B follows on from A. So if you can solve this equation, 2 brackets, factorise the quadratic in the normal way, equals 0, possibility from there, 2 values of m, and the last 2 marks out of the 5 you can get even if you were bamboozled by the first part of the question. So never give up on the later parts of the question if the first part of the question made you stuck. But do go back and make sure you can do that part A, because this is a very standard kind of question from Core 1 papers.